You should do the countdown.
Oh, I
Oh,
don't
we're
know
already
how to do
live.
the
Oh,
countdown.
where are we live? Not
Yes,
yet.
we are. Hi,
Yeah,
Shari,
we're kind
we're
of live,
live.
Shari.
Uh,
Oh my God, we just turned on my Siri on my phone. See?
it's been a day, people. Y'all may not get anything but just laughs and giggles out of me. So,
Oh,
We
I'm,
live,
I'm
we
like,
live for those days, right?
I'm
yeah.
like tired, drunk.
Well, it is equinox, between starting tonight and then going into tomorrow. It is the equinox. So we're all trying to get balanced. Maybe that's why we're feeling a little wonky. We're all like, no, we're all more than this. I know we're more, we're trying to get balanced. That could very well be it. So, everybody, thank you for joining us. Hello
Hey,
again, Ivana.
hey,
Hello, Emerald
Ivana, and
Buddha.
Emerald, and
We
Lisa,
got Scott Allen from
Allison.
Spiritual Essence, Sherry H, Voices from the Swamp. Thank you,
Who's
everybody.
Allison? I missed Allison.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
That's
Aries
Aries
girl.
girl.
Oh, that's Aries girl. Well, I don't know everybody's name yet.
Yeah,
Or
I was
actually, I
telling you.
hear them and I forget.
I was telling you.
It's not intentional. Please don't hold me accountable for that. I'm horrible with names. At work, everybody's used to me calling all of them honey,
Honey,
darling, boo,
darling.
sweetie, sugar. That's everybody's names.
Sweetheart.
Yep.
Boo.
Hey, sweet cheeks,
Oh,
Even the
welcome to the
boss.
show.
and we got the
Even the boss.
Chrome
The other
Zone with
day, I just
us.
like went
Hi,
blank on his name, and I
ladies.
went, some other. Well, I'll take care of it, darling. And he just kind of looked at me because he's from Europe, so
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's been in the States a long time, but still, he just kind of gave me a weird look, and I said, you know what I mean.
Oh, we've got, just really quick, we got Teresa Levine. She's always the first in my chat. Hello, Teresa.
Teresa's a sweetheart.
Of course, we
Isn't
got the
that
infamous,
special?
Oh, the
lovely
Chrome
Sherry
Zone. I
H,
forget your name too.
Heather and
Priscilla, and
Priscilla.
Heather.
Heather and Priscilla. I'm going to have to
Got
write this
the
stuff down.
Not sure
Constance
which
Scott
one's
L from
in the
Spiritual
chat, but
Essence.
One of
Lisa
them's there
Louise,
anyway.
one of them's
Allie, Emerald Buddha, hello.
Oh, Tracy's
Hello.
here. Hi, Tracy.
Oh, and then Tracy just popped in, and Ivana. So, yep, they just followed me over from my last live, like 10
Hey,
minutes
that's the
ago.
best way to do it.
Yep.
I'm just in seventh heaven because Linda answered me on air. Of course, I'll do a collab with you, but it may be another month before I can. I'm like,
Yep.
fine.
Sherry got it. Linda G.
I got Linda G coming. Yay! And I got Sheila Celtic Tarot next week, and then Allie the day after. So
Busy
I'm
lady. What about you, Scott? What you got coming up before we get into it?
I'm off till Sunday coffee.
Oh,
Well, I'm doing.
he's like,
Well,
I need a break.
I have a personal reading Saturday, and I'm doing another Akashic reading Saturday. So, but
Oh,
so I'm
You're
thinking.
being kind
Well,
of
I have a
good at
personal
those, aren't
reading
you?
tomorrow night, so I'm thinking basically taking Friday off.
I think this is a good thing. I think you found something there, Scott. These
Well, we'll
readings.
see.
Oh, listen to him. Oh, we'll see. He's
Well,
good, and he knows he's good at it.
they're free for YouTube, so I said we'll see.
I know. I enjoy.
I'm
Mine
shedding the
for free.
love, and as far as that goes, so far.
well, some days Spirit just loves to kick us in the butt.
Yes. So let me type in really quick. Everyone's like, well, what are we reading on today? So we
After
are.
coffee in the afternoon, I am on the Crone Zone. So everyone shows up there. I'm going to tap into one past life for everyone. That I've been doing that once a month on their channel. It's very fascinating. Like
I've been told I have multiple past lives. I had one lady tell me I had hundreds and hundreds of past lives. I said, well, damn, what am I screwing up? I have to keep coming back. I must be pretty hard-headed if I have to keep coming back and relearn the lesson.
Generally, if you're an old soul, you've had near 200.
She was a palm reader. She was a palm reader, and she actually had been certified as a palm reader in England in one of their institutions that tests the psychic abilities. And she was certified with like 96, 97% accuracy. It was really wild. And she did a palm reading on me, and she was like, I have never seen hands that have that many lives in them in my life. She was like, your hand is nothing but lifelines, just crisscrossed everywhere. I'm like, they just look wrinkled to me, but okay.
Well, you
think
Shari,
so?
I put in one of the chats the other day. You were saying hello to everybody. I don't think you saw it, but I had a dream about you earlier this week, and it was so interesting because you are like this yellowish green elemental earth entity, and I knew it was you because when I looked at its face, I could see your features in it.
Oh, okay.
So it was cool because what are you laughing at? Oh,
no, I'm sorry.
I've had hundreds of lives. There's no telling what I've been here as.
No, but I've been elemental too, so I think I was seeing,
no, Tracy.
You. Oh.
Tracy Ralph's comment.
My joints remind me.
I was laughing at Tracy's comments.
Oh. I thought it was kind of cool. Look, I woke up going, wait a minute. That was Shari. That's pretty cool.
Actually, Shari, so I was tapping into a past life for you or whatever. You are a very old soul. Probably the oldest I've felt.
Cool.
You're pushing 300, I'm thinking. Earth-wise. So what I was seeing, you were...
I had to be 300 to get blonde hair.
I was actually seeing you as a warrior in ancient Greece.
I could see that. I have felt at times over my life that I was a soldier or a warrior of some kind. I don't know if it was as a female or as a man.
I'm seeing a man.
I have felt myself as being a warrior. And I've had several people tell me that I have a warrior spirit. So I guess that works. And
damn girl, you wrestle an alligator for a damn purse. I would think there's a little bit of warrior in you. I love that. I mean, come on. You've been like, go run away, take my purse. No, you're like,
see, that's why I fought an alligator for my purse, because it was like, no.
Yeah.
It was a brand new leather purse. I was already pissed off because it took the strap. Then I'd go and tell my husband, alligator ate my purse. And he was like, well, I'm not buying you another one. Which he did like a day later. He went back to the store and got another one. But anyway.
Okay, Planet Z. It's been a long
Planet Z?
Planet X.
Couldn't find any info. Before we do that, I drew some cards for the collective. Can I share them?
Oh, go right ahead.
So I don't know who these are for, but I'm figuring they've got to be touching somebody. So the first one was full moon in Cancer. A personal issue reaches resolution. So if any of you have got personal issues, you're going to get a resolution. And then the first quarter moon says your commitment is being tested. So with all that's going on today, I would say we're all getting tested. And then it says, don't let your past hold you back. Well, gee, we started out talking about past lives. So.
Yep, perfect.
I pulled that in the middle of Scott saying, I've been tuning in on a past life with you, and I'm looking at this going, okay, that one's for me, I guess. I'm punch drunk. That's what it is. Just
I didn't pull Eddie because I was already shuffling for the energy for the planet. Did you shuffle anything for an opening card? Because I usually like to do the collective.
I did. I'm kind of. I did too. I was kind of evaluating.
Well, I figured I'll be in Scott's deck a lot tonight, so I thought I'd start with my
Yep, I already have it in my
Get her
hand.
done.
Yep,
I really enjoy
Scott's
your
deck.
Oracle deck a lot, Scott. It's really great. Wait, I
Thank
gotta
you.
fix my fan.
Starseed, and I got my elemental. Teresa Levine. Yep, I have lots of issues. Me too.
Sorry, it was aimed up at the ceiling and I wasn't getting any air.
Yeah, mine's right on me.
All right, I think I know what it means. Okay. I'm using.
Oh, here, let me get you.
Put him in the hot seat.
Whoops.
Hot seat. Wrong one.
Ron likes to call it.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm big.
Or
Oh,
like
yeah.
Gerald says, I'll embiggen you. I'm like,
I've
okay.
So Allison sent me this deck again, and I'm liking it. I just got to figure out what it means for coins, wands, because they talk about angels. So the first one was Ace of Michael, and it's like energy. I think it's the Ace of Wands, but it's like. And then I had the Emperor, and then I had the Four of Coins. So it's like energy from your energy from your main guide. Those information coming in is telling you how to. So the Four of Coins is like holding on, whether it's finances or whatever, but holding dear to your more of like your soul family. With the Emperor coming in, it's like stability, staying in truth, but it's like your angels bring you information and how to stay true to yourself. You know what I mean? With that Four of Coins, because it's holding on to your faith and your community. So that's what I'm sensing from these three. It's kind of weird draw. I guess if I knew what Ace of Michael actually meant, I would get it more. I think it's wands, but yeah, that's what I was getting.
All right. Well, this kind of goes with what I was talking about my own self going into the fall, but I think a lot of this will just resonate with everybody. You will have success. You will complete your destiny as long as you don't allow fear to be your downfall. And if you don't allow fear to hold you back, then you're just going to take charge and you're going to enjoy the ride. Follow your truth, do what you want to do. Don't be afraid to shine that light of yours. And
this little light of mine.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna let it shine. But there was another saying recently, and I'm trying to remember who said it. It'll probably come to me when I'm getting ready for bed, and I'm laying there going, "Oh shit," or "Shoot." That's what I wanted to say. So, okay.
But I looked
Hi,
at it
Jeff.
again. Ace of Michaels actually Ace of Swords. So it's like standing in your truth. That's why it didn't make sense to me. Because I'm like, but it's more about standing in your truth. The communication problems you have with others. And then the Emperor comes in with your guides. Hold on to your truth, the dissecting what is fact, what is not fact. So that way it made more sense to me. Because I'm like, I think it's a wand, but no, it's actually a sword.
So. Yeah, he's a sword wielder of truth. So, Planet X. I'm sure some of you have probably been hearing this over the years. It has a cute little nickname in the alternative universe with sci-fi comics and some other groups as Nibiru. But Planet X actually has people have felt it has existed, and this is going back to like pre-Copernicus. When these men and women were really fascinated with the night sky, and they didn't have all the technology and the lights, blinding out the stars in the sky. They could see a hell of a lot more than what we can now. And these people were just really painstakingly every night out there charting each of the lights of the stars and what they were thinking might have been planets. And since like just before Copernicus, they started noticing that something wasn't quite right at certain times in the sky. And as each century came around and telescopes were developed and they started discovering, the regular planets, there was still something that they couldn't compensate for that they kept seeing. There was just, one reason why one planet might be a little bit here or a star, and then later on it would be back, but then at a different time it wouldn't be quite in the same place. And so after all these centuries, these hundreds of years, and with this knowledge being passed down, people started thinking, well, there must be another planet. And at one point, I think it was between 1925 30 somewhere, whereas they discovered Pluto. But soon after, I think it was 2006, Pluto, they said, didn't deserve to be called, or that didn't deserve, but it didn't qualify to be called a planet because it was, according to them, too small. It was a dwarf planet, so it couldn't be a planet. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But
That's
still,
what I say, whatever.
after all these years, they still said that there was something that was even affecting still the other planets. And it had like a strange, elongated kind of orbit or what have you. And there's all these, channels on YouTube and whatnot that once they start throwing off names, numbers, things that I glaze over. I don't do math, I don't do numbers. But they've been doing like little clusters. And there's these two young men, I think it was 2016, so that they discovered that there was like a cluster of I don't know if meteors or rocks in the Copernicus um, asteroid belt. No, the Kipper. Excuse me. I got Copernicus on my brain tonight. Um, and it was like certain ones were kind of like um, coming together. They were like nestling together, and they couldn't figure out what was drawing this set of you know stones or whatever how they call it in the sky, or their stars, but they couldn't figure out what was creating this cluster. And so they figured that this had to have been the evidence that there was another planet way out past Pluto. So NASA says no, but there are now quantum physicists and other astronomers saying no, there is something to this. There is something way out there that has been affecting um, the orbits of some of the planets, including Earth. And I know Scott and I were talking via text today, and what he was picking up. And before I pull cards for that, or we can do cards, Scott, did you want to share what you had gotten? You shared with me from the Akashic records for the planet.
Oh, so I can't remember whose Akashic record I was seeing it. So every record I see, I've been seeing different planets beyond our Milky Way. And someone's record, I seen Planet X, and it was showing me that it's dead now. And from what tapping into what I got, I believe that Planet X is not in our galaxy. That's why astronomers can't find it. A lot of it's made up stuff. So I think it's in the galaxy beyond ours, right? So what I was getting in that scenario is that what it does have like an oblong type orbit. So many, many years ago, I think this is the reason why the flood happened. You always hear about the Great Flood, and the shift of the planet. It came into our the Milky Way and caused energetic disturbance, which caused all the atmospheric pressure to change, causing this 7-day, 40-day flood or whatever.
They say that that's affected all the other atmospheres and their planets as well throughout our whole solar system.
Everything changed.
Yep.
But what I see is that planet is dead. There's no life there, what I'm shown. So I was trying to tap in. I was like, so is this going to happen again? If it, like, I'm assuming Priscilla, maybe. I don't know. You didn't say who I noticed. That it passes through every 26,000 years. Well, we wouldn't have to worry about it. Right?
Phew.
We're talking
just asteroids
7,000 years ago. So there's another 19K before it passes. But what I'm also being told, this won't happen again. Oh, it's Priscilla. Okay, thank you. So what I'm sensing here is this was like a once in a lifetime kind of thing, or that it changes. I'm sensing it changes.
Maybe it's once in a sun's lifetime.
Right. Once in a billion years. Like, it just made this orbit to catch our galaxy, but now it'll probably never get back to them for another billion years or whatever. Because the way
as you were talking about it and Heather was saying it, I was thinking, because I know nothing about this. I was going to pull up some stuff and read on it this week, and that just didn't happen. If you'd seen my schedule, you'd know why. But I'm just sitting here and it's just coming to me. Well, what if it's actually something interstellar that comes from outside of our universe? And
that's
just
what some people are thinking.
Into our universe every however many hundreds of thousands of years. I mean, we just had a probe that finally went interstellar. It left. Elvis has left the building, so it's gone, and we don't know if we'll ever get it back because we don't know what's out there. And so it's just, which
one
to
of the
me
videos
is fascinating and terrifying all at the same time, because it's like, I believe there's something more out there, but at the same time, it's like, what if you get out there and there's nothing there? I mean, then what happens? I mean, can you get back? And would you want to?
Well, one of the videos I saw said that it passed, like, one of them suggested, or I don't know if they suggested it, or I don't know if they actually believed it. But like Shari, like you said, one thought that it was part of another solar system, and because it was so way out, that it sometimes on its orbit it'll just clip our solar system, and that's where it does the wobble or the change of the other planets when it does do that. And then another person suggested that it's possibly one of the ET races that had actually brought the planet in close to our solar system to start the chain reaction that would have caused the flood. But I don't know if I feel that. But Shari, what you said,
as you were speaking, I just got the hint. It changed its orbit when it hit the Milky Way. That's why it won't happen again.
Okay, that makes sense from a scientific point of view. I mean,
so it's part of,
because from galaxy to galaxy, we don't know.
Yeah, so it's
how it. I mean, we're the Milky Way galaxy. Well, there's a lot of galaxies in our universe.
Oh, yes.
That we're discovering every day. That they're saying that it may not be possible for people to go there because it could the change in, I don't know what you would call it, the gravitational change maybe, or something from one galaxy to the next could literally pull you apart and never put you back together again, or change you in ways that you would never be able to come back to Earth.
Yeah, they said that this planet is actually, I think they said roughly 5 times the size of Jupiter, and we know how huge Jupiter is.
No,
yeah. So when that passes into our galaxy, if it is that big, I could see it throwing off the rest of our planets and their orbits a bit for a time, causing, the destruction and the chaos it did to those planets, including ours.
Just if it's from the outer edges of our universe, or whether if it's an interstellar object that came in to our universe, that in and of itself would have drastic change on everything that's in normal zone for us, so to speak.
Could it be interdimensional, Scott?
No.
Like, how sometimes Bigfoot or whatever comes with portals on planet? No.
I don't feel that.
When I'm getting it, it's the 1.5 times the size of Earth. I don't think it's 10 times that big. No, I think it was a thriving planet at one point.
Yeah,
but when you get that, and someone asked me the question on one live or something, if there's one creator for the whole universe, and I was getting no. There's different energy sources that creators per each galaxy. So when we get beyond ours, there's a different energy source in each galaxy.
Well, and once I got out of the Christian cult and all of that nonsense, it's the only way I can put how it is to be absorbed into that. It's just like when you
that's why I like
back
Shari,
and you're like, oh my God, what was I thinking? And no offense for those who believe, I have no issue with it at all. But and I completely lost where I was going with that. With one God or not, creators, I would think, because I personally believe that there's spirit, there's universe, there's whatever you want to call it, that kind of has its finger on the pulse of everything. And I would imagine that would be all universes. But as far as creator God or something of that term, I tend to think more of it as being a manufacturer of man. We make it up to explain what we can't explain, because there's fear in that. And when there's fear and ignorance, then that can be very dangerous, and
it's easy to control people with fear and the unknown.
Right.
Exactly.
This poses a good question. Well, first, Patricia, I know it is mind-boggling, right? You look up in the sky and there's no end to it. It just keeps going.
Yeah, because we don't know what's beyond our universe.
That's what's a little scary.
It's crazy, right?
That's what I mean. It's fascinating and it's terrifying all at the same time.
Here's the question I was going to pose. How can an energy source, let's say God or the creator or whatever, or the energy source that keeps the universe together, our universe, right? How can that create DNA or create a person?
They would have to have intelligence, right? Is that what you're...
Okay, we got this energy source. We've talked about heaven. We got this loving source of the God energy that is learning for souls and takes us home, right? But we have this creator. Something created all these planets. Something created people and animals and bugs and amoebas and fish and everything, right? So how can an energy source create that? They didn't. But somehow, some way, some creature had to be grown out of something. So when I was in Priscilla's Akashic Records, and it was confirmed by a book, if you ever want to audio...
Really?
So, what the heck's its name? I'd have to... All right, I'll go get it. It's sitting over there. But on this planet anyway, and this is a good thing to read into, because there had to have been something. How did the first being get created? But I sensed that extraterrestrial created everything on Earth. And when I was in,
them.
I know, right? I just thought of that. I'm like, how did that get created? Because we're the experiment, everything we've talked about or I've sensed.
God, we've really effed that up, haven't we?
So yeah, I know. No, but I thought of that too. I'm like, how did they come
They
from?
may be going back and saying, okay, we're not doing that plan again. I'm in a mood tonight, y'all. Forgive me.
But it's like,
so Scott, you're trying to what you're saying is what we were.
This is what I drew when Scott was talking about it.
Oh my God! Here,
yeah, we were.
That's a scary.
We were created.
That's a scary face.
But then I drew this right behind it. So
hidden secrets, yeah.
Yeah. Followed with time for a vacation.
A vacation, yeah, no more. Stop. We gotta take
I think the last one was for me.
But really quick with the first ones that I pulled up, I got Earth, and it says in the world but not of it. So it was in our universe, but it's not of our solar system, but it wasn't of it. And I'm feeling like it did have a type of Earth energy. And then I got message. It says Sirius energy, but it says breeding harmony and balance. So when it came in here, it was, I think, meant to, it was in a state of balance, harmony and balance when it came into contact with our system. However, the planet, it changed all the planets in the system, including itself. And then I got the inner Earth, and it says, you'll survive this. The planet survived. I mean, our solar system survived. And this says new solutions and beginnings. So those new beginnings with that clipping our solar system, that might have been, and in its own solar system too, that might have eclipsed and started the new beginnings because of the chain reaction that it had. Because we know sometimes the slightest change can alter DNA, can alter a person's life. It can alter how a virus works. You know what I mean? Everything is so subtly interconnected with each other. We are also intertwined on an energetic level that even this, what would be considered the slightest, maybe little bump, like that planet touching our solar system, it caused that ripple effect, and it ended up creating new beginnings, possibly in its solar system, and maybe even out and beyond past that one. And then the last card, which kind of feels like that, is polarity. It actually brought a balance. It brought soul growth, maybe to some, but it did cause conflict with certain planets and their rotations, and with Earth, possibly the Great Flood. But even though with the disaster of the Great Flood, it also brought a soul growth because we had to start over again. And like you said, Shari, we're not really doing as good, like we should be. But so far,
well, and if you stop and look at, when I was in high school, I had a desire to understand religion, not just one religion, but several. And so I just kind of took it upon myself to kind of read up on them. And the thing that struck me was how much, when you get down to the brass tacks, down to the basic building blocks of each type of religion out there on our planet anyway, they all basically say the same thing. Mm-hmm. They all basically have the same life-changing, earth-wide effects,
cataclysmic stuff,
cataclysmic effects that change the effect of things. They may be worded different, they may be different causes for why it happened, but they still all say basically the same thing. And one of the things that, as Scott was saying, well, if ETs created us, who created them? Who created the universe? Where did it come from? Did it just
right?
come into being? Or, I mean, you would think that there's got to be a start to it somewhere, you know? And maybe there is, but our brains just aren't capable of handling
Handling the truth.
understanding how that works. So, but if you look at religions, they all talk about what brings life is that God, the breath of God brings you into life, which is, and to get a tad bit political here, you have people who claim to be super religious Christian evangelicals who are screaming about abortion and get rid of abortion and blah 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 because it's a baby from the second it's conceived, and yet their Bible tells them it's not a baby, it's not a person, it's not a life until it breathes, until it draws its first breath. That's what the Bible says. If you go into Jewish beliefs, that's why you have the Jewish organization is like suing some of these states over their radical abortion bills because it goes against what their religion teaches them, that if there are issues, then that is the woman's right to have that voided from her body to save her life, because that's not a life yet until it comes out and breathes. And so it's like, okay, and I'll back off the political aspect from that at this point, but just food for thought. You know, you have people that talk out of both sides of their mouth. So
yeah, those are the same people that'll go into the grocery store and start yelling at people for a mask, but then they claim Jesus.
Thank
there's
you.
There's no compassion there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Both sides
My body, my choice to put a mask on, but that doesn't count for somebody with medical issues that may die if they don't get an abortion.
And Shari, when you were saying the answer is like in another universe, and that's why I had held this card up. You have the power within you in the universe. So it's like we all have the power of creation. There was a creator. We have that knowledge. If you say we're never going to be able to wrap our minds, or we'll never be able to figure out how. But it's this to me. It's like this card is reminding us that we do have the knowledge. We just have to learn how to tap into it.
Once you become a parent and you give birth, believe me, 18 hours of hard labor, I can tell you all that.
My stepmom had 32 hours.
Oh, well, geez, more power to her, to mama then, because 18 hours, and for years, as I would look at my son and he would really piss me off, and I'd go, 18 hours. When he turned 18, he said, "Am I even now?" And I said, No. I said, that will never be paid off. But he just all I have to do is just look at him and go, 18 hours. He knows exactly what I mean. It's like, I own you, son.
So the soul is always alive, Tracy.
Yeah. So that's I think of that in a different aspect of the flesh bodysuit that we inhabit. You know,
we're just talking about a human over a mother. Like
I mean,
as far as that.
And it's in the whole point of it is that because it is such a personal topic that it's nobody else's business what Jane, Joe, or Helen thinks is best for them, or that their doctors say would be best for them. What the hell do I know about it? I don't know their medical condition. I have no control over their lives. Why should I have say over what they do with their body? And it's personal freedom is really, and that's
how I feel about the vaccine.
That's what Roe v. Wade actually, that was the argument for Roe v. Wade, that's why it was held up by the Supreme Court originally, was because it was approached as freedom, personal choice freedom, We all have our personal freedom, our personal choices, and it's nobody else's business but that person and whoever they want to let into that decision. And so, okay, I'll get off that. Had something that fired me up earlier, so it's kind of been in the back of my brain.
I'm just going to go really quick with some of Scott's cards. Like we have the knowledge. We may already have the knowledge. Certain peoples, maybe governments, religions may have the knowledge. Um, or it's kind of implying that we think we have the knowledge, but the universe is just so expanse that it even still claims that we have it within our bodies. I mean, the universe is out there, but it's also in us. We are the
Mhm.
universe as well. And when
Yeah,
it
we all
comes to
come from
learning
stardust.
and understanding, it's going to take time and patience. And we're going to, and at some point, we are going to be able to start connecting with those aspects of ourselves and our connection to the universe and vice versa. With this card, loving and connecting with other souls, not just with, ourselves and with each other, but looking out past ourselves and seeing how small we are in the whole big picture of other um, entities, races that are out there that are not maybe similar, but we're all still connected on that universal energy, connection. And of course, again, mysteries of our soul. We can we can probably figure it out if we start to learn how to remember our dreams, pay attention to those deja vu moments, and just going within and meditating and trying to connect with or help people who connect us with tapping into our records like Mr. Scott here. I mean, I think we can maybe we can Scott, do you think we can all learn how to do that the way you do it?
I not sure. it I think it's everyone's gift. Only certain can do it. Everyone has their own gifts. So
Hello, Miss Terody.
I'm working on getting them on my show too. We're trying to come up with a date.
it would take a lot of practice. I mean, for me, it was just there. I just noticed something was coming in and it just started happening.
Mm.
So when you just, I mean, I need to be by myself to be listening like that. Other energies kind of disrupt the signal. And I just listen, kind of like
Yeah.
um, doing an Akashic reading. I'm just interpreting what I'm seeing, so,
Yeah.
but I only have one
And it
person.
may not make sense to you, but it may make perfect sense to whoever it is you're
Yeah.
Yeah.
reading for. Which
And I
is
think maybe if we put that intention out there, Sherry, Scott, that if we want to learn how to be able to do this, we can ask our guides and have them help us manifest that ability.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
don't know
if
if
you,
I'm ready for that yet, but
Oh, I
I'm
am very
I'm I'm
interested in
I'm
the records now.
I
Scott's
just
got me very interested. No, I am.
I
It's
was just
fascinating.
told about a month ago that I have a direct channel to Pan and to Walk Whole and Master Jesus when I had a reading done, and he was channeling these three people, and it was like halfway through the reading he stopped. He said, "Oh," he says, "they're telling me you don't need me to talk to them. You have a direct link. You can just dial right into them." And I'm like, "Oh, really? How do I do that?" But so I mean, I think the ability is there for all of us. Just like some people seem so much more psychic than others, I think it's just whatever it is that you've dialed in, that you've allowed to just some people are more in tune with what's going on around them than others. Some of us experience things as children and then kind of stuffed it in the back closet as we grew up because it wasn't the cool thing to do, or you came from a family that's evil and the devil and that kind of stuff. So I think it's just a matter of learning to reopen yourself and learning to be still and be quiet and listen, as Scott was saying. It's being
you have to be quiet. You need to be in meditation. And I basically just ask, but I also know if an energy's there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just kind of feel it, or I like, why am I seeing this person? I'm like, okay, what's going on? But I ask, and I understand what I'm getting back, though. It's like someone asked me the other day about a murder that happened, and they're trying to figure out who it was. So I'm like, okay, for shits and giggles, I'll see if I can figure out what happened. So I just look at the picture of the person that was text to me, and I just asked my guides, show me what happened. So I start seeing this scene of what happened, and I explained back to her what I was seeing, and it happened. And that's how my process will work. I just ask and like, show me how it happened. And I've said it before, but there was another someone I read for, and she had this dear friend that her grandson went missing, and she's like, "Can you?" So mine, but I never tried to read someone else. Okay, cool, Gracie. So she, her grandson was missing, really worried, So she just asked me, could you see if you can figure out where he might be? So I said, I got the picture of him. I looked at the picture. Okay, that's him. Get in his energy, and I just got kind of quiet. So I just asked the guides, show me, show me what happened. So then I started seeing him on a bicycle. He was going by a construction site, and then I started seeing a woods, and then the bicycle was gone. Then I seen him leaning in, talking to someone in a car, but I did not see a struggle. And then I was sensing he's like 150 miles south. I felt he was alive, and he wanted to be left alone. And I was like, I think he's gonna, it's you're really worried, right? Was he kidnapped? So there's a lot of mixed information coming in, but I think he's gonna, reach out to you. It should be okay. 3 days go by, everyone's worried, 3 days later, I get the text. He stole a bike. He was going to commit suicide. The bike was found in a woods. He hitchhiked 180 miles south. He stayed with a girl he met online, and he turned off his phone, and he didn't know what to do with his life. I pretty much described it. And I just asked, show me what happened.
Yeah.
And he called back. And he's safe. He had mental health issues. I mean, I guess his dad is kind of going schizophrenic or something. And he's worried he was going to be like him. And he's getting all these weird feelings and doesn't fit in. And he wanted to commit suicide, but he didn't, and he hitchhiked. So I was a little confused when I seen him looking into a car. I'm like, okay, was he taken? Or what? But when I seen him look in, it looked like he was having a conversation. So all these other things with the ego start going in. Was he taken? Or was he, abducted? But so my symbol now, if someone is just looking in a car like he's talking, he'd probably be hitchhiking instead of getting taken. So I would look for a struggle or something. But it was just amazing. I mean, it pretty much described the movie I was seeing in my mind, what happened.
Yeah.
And I was 30 miles off of my senses where he was, and he was south. He was south.
Well, and that's what's so strange. I know for me, since I've kind of opened this channel back up inside of me and saying, okay, back in 2020 when I first stumbled upon this community and the people in it, and I was like, wow, what is this? And as I slowly started to try to open myself back up, I started getting little flashes of things, and it's usually not strong enough that I could grasp it and pull it out and say, "Oh, it's I saw this or I heard that." Um, it's but it's there. I know it's there. I watched it flash, but I'm just not strong enough yet. So I know it just takes time to grow that ability. I mean, not everybody has the ability to do those sort of things. I've had several of the psychics within our community all tell me, kind of, off the record privately, you're a medium, right? I'm like, I don't want to talk to dead people. And they're like, yeah, but you're still a medium. They may come talk to you. Well, recently we had a death and I had a funeral to go to. And I remember when I pulled up in the parking lot, I sat there for a minute and I was like, okay, spirit, God, universe, whatever. I don't want to talk to any dead people. I don't want to see any dead people except the one I'm expecting to see in the casket at the front of the room. Let's leave it at that for today. I'm not ready for anything else. And it was blissfully quiet. I mean, and very, it was like it almost felt like somebody had put like a muffler over my head.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like.
You're taking control of your power. You're letting them know that this is okay and this is not okay right now.
Yeah,
Today,
and it was the first time that I felt a reaction from making a request like that, of just simply saying, "I'm not ready for this yet." so so please don't send me any gross dead people to deal with while I'm trying to deal with family members here. I don't want to do that. So
I mean, like if you look at the community we're in, Linda G is different from Kim and the Tune of You.
Everybody's
a tarot reader is different from Danny Shea, whatever it is. Everyone's got their different gifts. Not everyone, like the show The Dead Files. Not many people can do what Amy Allen does. Walk into a scene and see this, or like the Long Island Medium. I could never walk into a room of 300 people and pick something up. I couldn't handle all that energy. But one-on-one, I can get it, right?
Yeah.
It's a little more difficult with like a Lovely's here tonight and you two. So I kind of like got to fight through all the different energies to see. I can get hits now, but constant flow like that, it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, it's just like when I'm reading, I'll get, and I've caught myself saying this. Well, I just heard, and then I think to myself, well, no, actually, you didn't hear it. You just knew it. But now I'm starting to hear it again. Because when I was a little girl, I used to sit and talk to God all the time. It was a very deep male voice, sounded just like me talking to y'all. Y'all talking to me, physically, verbally heard this person talk to me, and I named it God. And when family would walk through and say, "Who are you talking to?" I'd say, "I'm talking to God." And they'd be like, "Oh, okay." And I think because of the fact that no one in my family acted like there was something wrong with me, that it just kind of, they let it progress naturally. And then when I got a little older, it kind of freaked me out a little bit because I didn't quite know what to do with it. Therefore, I would kind of push it away. Just like when I was around 12, I discovered I could lay down in bed and float above my body and be at the ceiling and looking down at myself sleeping on the bed. But I would never go any further than that because I was terrified if I left the room, I would get lost and I wouldn't be able to find myself again.
Okay, Scott, Shari, I've been having to keep an eye on the time because I'm getting a little close to my.
I'm sorry, we've gone way off topic, so sorry.
So we would just want to throw some cards. Well, I actually threw some cards to see if Scott mentioned in the beginning that he felt like the planet was dead, and I just kind of wanted to see what some of my cards said. So I thought, I would throw on that and if you wanted to throw on a question that you had that you would like it, would think would be a good question to ask the
Yeah.
cards as like a final, and then we'll have to wrap it up, everybody. So I'm sorry, Joe. Maybe on Sunday, when Ivana and I do New Moon in Libra, perhaps we can do that then for you. Um, so it was kind of interesting because I did get for whether or not the planet, was still alive. I think it's weird because I got protection, but then I also got chaos. Um, and then I got enlightenment. So I'm wondering if at one point it was protected, but then when it did touch our solar system, our galaxy, um, it did set off a chain reaction on the planet itself that caused it chaos. But then with the enlightenment, I'm wondering if perhaps they found a way to still exist on the planet. I'm saying they as if I feel like that there was somebody there, but it just feels like an enlightenment, unless that was what the planet was meant to do. That was kind of like the destiny of the planet. By touching ours, it set off that chain reaction that may have caused that ripple effect to change the course of how, um, I don't know, with other planets, or because I don't know of any other planets um, and what races live on those planets in our universe. But with ours, I'm wondering if that chaos, which caused the flood, which caused other changes in the earth, was destined to bring about the enlightenment, the temples, people connecting again with nature and trying to build up and move forward that into what we are now. If that made sense.
Hmm.
And then the card on the bottom, I usually like to grab, I got the freedom card, the evil spirit. So it gave us a new perspective. It helped us give a new perspective as a race or races or other ET races that said, okay, well, let's, you know, inhabit and come to Earth, and from there, whether it's a science project, if it was for slave, whatever, it was still kind of like destined. It was a different perspective that maybe we just still can't wrap our heads around.
Well, and
And
then I
that's
pulled,
Yep, that card. Yep, that's not the card I was just about to mention.
and then I
Yes,
pulled my
the
moonology. It
timekeeper.
said, "Hold your vision."
Yes.
So it's like the two went together.
Yep. I was about to mention that card too, but I didn't want to interrupt to say, like, just like that card I got with the divine timing, and then you put the card.
Well, I
Cool.
pulled 3 cards for that for planet Venus, and I did get a divine feminine type card, the Palladian love and energy, and ancestors and intuition.
So you pulled
Well,
that for sure.
Venus,
Did you?
I
Oh, I'm
mean
sorry.
everything. What's that?
No, I just
That's
wanted
what
to
I
double
pulled as
check
Scott
those
was
were.
talking.
But Scott, those
Yeah,
cards were for Joe, right? Because she asked about Venus.
yeah.
Is that what you
I
pulled?
just
Okay,
pulled
I just wanted to make
pulled
sure.
on
I was a
Venus.
little confused.
Yeah, I
Okay.
pulled on Venus. Venus is is love, but it's also that energy seems to help with your ancestors coming in and your akashic feeling, and at least your intuition and your soul path. So I did get loving energy for Venus. It is that kind of direction. Interesting.
Yeah.
And
But
if
yeah,
it's if it's a feminine energy, then it's going to change its mind. That's why I just took them off. I'm just saying,
You got a point there.
Venus, Venus, Venus or Planet X.
whichever, either one or
I
both.
still find that planet fascinating. That would be something cool
What
to
little bit
explore.
I've been able to watch on it and look at this week, and it wasn't much because it's been a week from hell for me at work. But It looked really interesting, with people coming at it from both sides. No, it's a hoax, and yes, it's a possibility. It's like, oh wow, this is interesting. So, eventually, I hope people sit down and watch the rest of the videos that I download.
I'm just curious as to what it did to the solar system that it actually belongs to. How it clipped ours, but I wonder now what
it feels like a rogue planet.
What do you mean by rogue?
That could be, yeah.
Rogue? It's got to have a sun.
Not. It's held by its, its galaxy, but it's kind of like
does its own thing.
Yeah. Like a loose wheel that came off a car.
Sun,
yeah.
I'm confused with that, but okay. I'll ask behind the scenes, but I don't think I missed anybody. Thank you all for coming. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having it.
I know I haven't done any of the mysteries in a while, and I miss doing them, and I love reading with these two crazy cats. So
give me a holler whenever you. I'm up for the paranormal, so I'm still trying to get my buddy Lon to come on and do a show with him.
Yeah.
Have you been watching his channel?
I watch a couple, but sometimes it's a little drawn out, and sometimes it's kind of like, okay.
Yeah, sometimes they can be a little long-winded.
Yeah.
But I've known Lon for.
Are we all?
I've known Lon for probably a good 15, 20 years now. So,
that's cool.
I've watched him go through a lot of up and down, so I'm glad to see that he's doing so well. But yeah, I'm trying to get something locked down, and he's like booked out till Christmas. So I was like, "That's cool, dude. We'll work something out."
We'd love to have like the both of you, have like a panel like he does. You, me, Scott, and Lon, and just throw out something paranormal if y'all are up to it, and just have one of those. That would be fun because I have. I grew up in a house that had a nasty spirit in it, and I just found
a YouTube video that talked about all the haunted castles in Ireland.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, you're always trying to search for something. I'm like, ooh, but there's one in particular that seemed really interesting.
I've actually got a couple.
So you guys save that for maybe next
on
Wednesday?
Stuff like that. I need to pull out.
Oh yeah, Shari, like that show I told you about. I know I keep saying I have to go, but the one on Morgan City.
Oh yeah. I watched it. It's like doing a rerun right now. So, but I watched it, and I vaguely remember hearing about it when it happened.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I mean, Shari
really
lives down in one of the coolest states. I mean, there's so much paranormal history and pirates and everything.
Oh, Louisiana? Yeah, baby, we got it all.
Yeah.
We got our own Rougarou. We got ghost and voodoo and pirates and you name it, and we got it.
Okay, so again, thank you everybody for joining us, and I will be here again tomorrow. And if I have any readers who are free tomorrow night, Sharon from Strawberry Rhubarb, we're actually going to be reading on a loved one that was murdered. His case is ongoing, and she wanted to do a read on a nephew of hers. His name was Ben. And so if anybody, wants to jump in the chat, maybe, pull out some cards, maybe we can get some information as a collective all together for Sharon. That would be awesome. Or watch back on playback and see, if you feel anything, you get anything with your cards, or you listen to your intuition and you feel like you want to offer something.
Yeah.
Leave it in the comments. So, but yeah, it's hard when it touches somebody, in your family.
Yeah, it's a little different when it's personal like that.
Yeah. All right. So
you really want to be able to plug in.
Yes. So thank you again, everybody. Have a good night, and we will see you on the flip side. Bye.
Bye.